Have you ever felt like nobody really gets you? What if I told you that feeling misunderstood may actually be your superpower? Today, we're diving deep into why those who often feel out of place, the chosen ones, not only face this unique challenge, but thrive because of it. Being misunderstood isn't just a personal trial, it's a clear indicator of extraordinary gifts and a distinct path that sets you apart. We'll explore the phenomenon of being misunderstood, how it's a marker of unique talents, the psychological resilience it builds, and how embracing your true self can lead to profound success and fulfillment. Stay tuned as we unfold the real power of being misunderstood and how you can harness it to transform your life. Being misunderstood. Have you ever felt completely alone and misunderstood, even when surrounded by people, as if your core identity, values, and perspectives are just fundamentally different from the mainstream? This near-universal experience of feeling like an outsider is what psychologists call being misunderstood. At its core, being misunderstood stems from possessing a distinct worldview, unconventional talents, or operating at a different level of consciousness than the majority. Your instincts, curiosities, and passions simply don't align with cultural norms and expectations. For the exceptionally gifted, being misunderstood is an inescapable rite of passage. The most extraordinary creative geniuses and paradigm-shifting thinkers in history all experienced prolonged periods of ridicule, dismissal, and incomprehension before their work was recognized. Vincent van Gogh is a prime example. His revolutionary post-impressionist art defied conventions and flew in the face of 19th-century artistic norms. He lived an impoverished life, experiencing psychosis, depression, and only sold a handful of paintings before his death. Yet today, his masterpieces like The Starry Night are among the most famous and valuable artworks ever created. Or consider Nikola Tesla, the eccentric Serbian-American inventor who feuded bitterly with Thomas Edison while pioneering breakthroughs like the AC induction motor and neon lighting. His seemingly bizarre and erratic behavior, which stemmed from genius-level intellect and neurodiversity, led him to be branded as a mad scientist during his life. It wasn't until decades after his passing that his countless inventions revolutionizing modern electricity transmission were fully appreciated. Being ahead of your time, possessing a radically open mind, and perceiving reality through an elevated lens is the quintessential catalyst for incomprehension. As the adage goes, people don't reject ideas. They reject changes that affect their identities and worldviews. This friction between our inner truth and society's conventions is the birthing ground of visionaries across all disciplines. Misunderstanding as a marker of unique gifts. While being misunderstood can initially feel like a curse, it's actually an undeniable marker that you possess rare gifts and a level of consciousness most people can't comprehend. The feeling of not fitting in or being out of step with mainstream thinking means you are blessed with abilities that transcend the ordinary. Consider for a moment, if everyone instantly understood you, that would mean your thoughts, talents, and perspectives are well within the boundaries of conventionality. But the greatest innovators and creative minds aren't conventional. They're transcendent. Their unique way of perceiving and talents are precisely what allow them to create brilliant works that are initially misunderstood. Those who are misunderstood are the rarest breed. They possess coveted abilities like seeing the world through an unconventional lens, not beholden to groupthink. They have the intellectual bravery to buck the tides of conformity, and they thrive in dimensions of thought and creativity that make the masses uncomfortable until society's consciousness rises to appreciate them. You only need to look at history's most impactful artists, scientists, entrepreneurs, and spiritual leaders to see this pattern emerge. Pablo Picasso's abstract cubist paintings were reviled by critics as assaulting tradition before launching a worldwide movement. Albert Einstein's theories of relativity fundamentally realigned our conception of space, time, and physics itself, yet were deemed a mass of obfuscating ambiguity early on. Avant-garde thinkers from Van Gogh to Virginia Woolf to Deepak Chopra have endured periods of being trivialized or pathologized before their transcendent ideas ascended into the mainstream. Even in business, the most brilliant innovations are invariably met with skepticism at first. Uber, Airbnb, and Netflix all faced tides of misunderstanding and dismissiveness before their revolutionary models disrupted entire industries. The initial misunderstanding is really just a temporary clash between radically new ideas and society's comfort with the familiar. So if you often find yourself being the odd one out, an outlier who struggles to conform or relate to the mainstream line of thinking, that's not a bad thing at all. It's the greatest external affirmation that you were blessed with a higher consciousness and spectacular gifts the world hasn't caught up to yet. The feeling of being misunderstood is just the first step in the hero's journey for visionaries and chosen ones before the world opens its eyes. Psychological and emotional impact. While the feeling of being misunderstood is an undeniable marker of possessing rare gifts, it doesn't come without an emotional cost. The psychological and emotional toll of living as a square peg in a world of round holes can be immense, especially in the formative years. As a child or young adult, not fitting in with your peers or aligning with societal conventions can create profound alienation, insecurity, and inner turmoil. It's an immensely painful experience to have your identity, values, and way of being consistently dismissed or diminished by those around you. The near-constant feeling of "there's something wrong with me" or "I don't belong" can breed loneliness, anxiety, and lack of self-worth. Many gifted visionaries grapple with these wounds well into adulthood. They may become cynical loners who reject social connections, or they overcompensate by craving external validation and approval to fill the inner void created by being a perpetual outsider. At their worst, they lose themselves by suppressing their uniqueness to finally fit in and be accepted. However, the chosen ones who emerge strongest are those who lean into the misunderstood period as an incredible opportunity for alchemical growth. Like forging steel in intense fires, the challenges of being an outlier create scar tissue that develops revolutionary levels of resilience, self-belief, and emotional fortitude within the soul. By standing firm in their truth despite public invalidation, they cultivate an unshakable sense of self-trust. They hone skills like self-awareness, integrity, and comfortable planting seeds for long-term visions daring souls can't fathom. And they develop the grit and determination to persist through arduous journeys ahead that would break those of conventional consciousness. In many ways, the bittersweet psychological turmoil of being misunderstood is the testing ground that separates theoretical visionaries from those capable of creating real-world impact. Those who enter the flames and don't get consumed emerge with phenomenal emotional resiliency. They turn their pain into unbreakable character strengths. Their ability to thrive despite opposition is what empowers them to ultimately change the world. Thriving as the chosen one. If you can withstand the psychological and emotional trials of being misunderstood, there's an incredible opportunity awaiting you to step into your power as one of the rare chosen ones whose unique gifts can create extraordinary impact. The first step is to fully embrace your beautiful individuality as a source of strength rather than deficiency. Rather than contorting yourself to fit into society's box, choose to celebrate how you were wonderfully crafted to transcend boundaries. Reframe being an outsider as a signifier of your elite status in the world. You simply operate at a higher level that most can't yet comprehend. Once you make this inner shift, it's paramount to find your tribe of fellow travelers and renegade thinkers who recognize and champion your special talents. The lone wolves like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, who assembled genius teams and co-creators aligned with their daring visions. Or iconic duos like John Lennon and Yoko Ono, two uncompromising souls who formed an unbreakable, productive partnership. With this empowering self-concept and supportive crew, you'll be poised to finally unleash those remarkable gifts and perspectives that set you apart. The blueprint is already inside you, the artist who sees beauty others are blinded to, The entrepreneur who perceives an undervalued niche, the scientist who dares invent a whole new paradigm. By staying true to that distinct inner voice, you have the power to leave an indelible creative, intellectual, or entrepreneurial mark on the world. History's canon of icons offer radiant case studies. Despite unfathomable hardship and dismissal, Frida Kahlo gave Mexico one of its most searing self-portraits through her majestic artwork. Mahatma Gandhi's unwavering commitment to non-violence allowed him to peacefully dismantle the British Empire in India. J.K. Rowling persisted through poverty and self-doubt to deliver the Harry Potter series that brought boundless magic to the world. When you stop censoring yourself and operate from your deepest authenticity, no critics or setbacks can ultimately derail you. You'll develop a creative discipline and sense of certainty that attracts evangelists and resources. Your work will act as a magnet, pulling the culture to you. What was once derided soon becomes a world-altering revolution. Turning misunderstanding into opportunity. While thriving as a chosen one requires fortitude, the most impactful visionaries don't just survive periods of being misunderstood. They proactively turn that friction into rocket fuel to accelerate their mission. The first step is to cultivate a growth mindset that treats every dismissal, rejection, or criticism as data to sharpen your vision rather than sources of discouragement. See incomprehension from others not as invalidation, but simply as feedback that you must continue innovating until the world's consciousness expands. Use that feedback loop of misunderstanding as a compass, sharpening your messaging and creations to eventually resonate more powerfully. This iterative process separates revolutionary ideas that ultimately stick from aimless rebellion. The people and viewpoints that puzzle or offend you the most can reveal your biggest blind spots to evolve. Additionally, perceive society's failure to immediately understand you as a filtering mechanism, attracting only those meant to be part of your movement. Stay deeply committed to your authentic expression, and the right supporters, partners, and patrons will find their way to your campfire over time. As a misunderstood visionary, you're playing the long game, planting seeds for future harvests and drawing in the true believers who get it. It's then crucial to channel the restless drive that comes from being ahead of your time into prolific output and creation. Great artists like Van Gogh used misunderstanding and rejection to fuel their productivity rather than discouragement. Despite struggling to get showcased, he created an unprecedented 2,100 artworks during his tragically short career. Entrepreneurs who've beaten the odds applied violent anti-complacency to solve pent-up demand society couldn't yet articulate. With focused discipline, leverage the gift of having few distractions as someone on the fringe. You can quintessence that outcast identity into unparalleled drive, originality, and grit few can match because you're unencumbered from conforming to fleeting trends. Finally, focus less on persuading the world to accept your ideas and put energy into execution. Let your disruptive creations, inventions, and impact be the convincing that cuts through society's inertia. Ultimately, those bold enough to harness misunderstanding as motivation become unstoppable forces whose influence is undeniable in shaping the future ahead.
Thank you for tuning in. If you found our content engaging and enlightening, we invite you to join our community by clicking the subscribe button. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue to create insightful content for you. We value your thoughts and perspectives, so don't hesitate to share them in the comments below. Your feedback fuels our growth and inspires us to deliver even more enriching experiences. Until our next encounter, take care, stay curious, and stay tuned for more thought-provoking content. Together, let's explore the depths of wisdom and embark on an unforgettable journey of discovery.